Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I have uploaded 2 Black-owned business spotlight videos. So if you would, when you get a free moment, please go and check those out. They are Black-owned businesses, both of them by Black women, and I love both of their products. So hopefully y'all will get a chance to go and check that out. So yeah, today is Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to all the lovers out there. And even if you don't have anybody, love yourself. That's all you got to do. I understand what this holiday is, you know, what it spanned from. So definitely read up on the history of that, but you know, it is what it is. Today is also my birthday, so if you want to, feel free to cash at me a couple of dollars. So that I can go ahead and put some gas in the tank or do something like that or whatever, like if you want to. But if nothing else, just swing by and say happy birthday. I appreciate that. And my cash app is my name that y'all already see up here, AL Thick Madame, and all that good stuff. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this recap review. Okay, y'all, so the episode started out with Martell going to get fitted for 5 new dress suits. Why is he still in the confessional, sitting up here looking like Colonel Sanders / Django Unchained with these suits on? I don't understand. He really legit looked like Colonel Sanders / Django in that white suit. I'm just like, okay. Anyway, maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. Y'all let me know if y'all see the same thing I'm seeing. But anyway, so he's talking to his uncle, and, you know, his uncle wanted to know, you know, how he was doing. What's going on with the business? He's heard some rumblings about his relationship, and at this point, he's concerned about how everything is going to go because divorce is supposed to really be on the horizon. And so his uncle was like, well, the only way that you can ensure that she doesn't have a way to lay claim to anything else outside of what y'all have already built together is to wait until the ink dries on the divorce papers. That's what I'm talking about. I keep trying to tell people they need to get a divorce decree in hand before they do things. So it is what it is. So anyway, his uncle apparently does not understand how the world works now, because Martell was trying to explain to him that despite the fact that he was trying to get this new business deal off the ground, the person who like is like the company that is going to be like their name would be attached to it. He wasn't understanding how him having his situation happen the way that it's happened, how's that affecting them. And he was like, they're on social media. And I'm like, it's not just them getting a divorce, because the uncle was like, oh, people get divorces all the time. I'm like, it ain't just divorce. Like, they are in the blogs. They have been making national waves. And you wouldn't think that, being that that's just Huntsville, Alabama, just this random situation that is playing out on TV. They've been making waves. People have been creating stories and getting clicks and views, like for real, off of this situation. He got a whole other baby with the side chick that's coming or has come already that they still haven't gotten to as far as the storyline for this show. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, the most is going on. So it makes sense that that company would not want to have any dealings with him like that. Ain't nobody trying to have you to be the face of their company and all of that. And you think they want to just sit up here and be like, hey, we have partnered with this person, or yeah, and then you have them as the face of it? Like, no. So I understand that, but yeah. I'm glad the uncle did tell him, like, you better make sure that the ink is dry on the paperwork. But yeah, he was saying that the process is going to be, you know, it might take some time for the kids to get used to the new norm of how their life goes now, but it is what it is. So anyway, so Maurice is at the office that they are, you know, building, where everybody has their own office, him, his wife, and, you know, his stepson, Jalen, who is Kimmy's son. I hope I said his name right. I think it's Jalen. But Jalen is in there and he is like measuring certain parts of the wall because he wants certain furniture in there. And so Maurice wants to know what he's doing with his life and what he got going on. And he was like, I mean, nothing, I'm just working. And I want to be able to do what I want to do. I went to school for something in particular, but because of COVID, nobody's hiring in my field. And so Maurice went all the way off and told him, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. When I got out of school, all I had was the money that I had left over from my refund check. And I spent $1,000 on a house. So he invested in himself, and he's trying to get him to bet on himself instead of thinking that, you know, it's going to happen, because that's just not how it works. And so Jalen was like, well, what's up with your brother? Because every time I'm trying to link up with him, I haven't been able to really do nothing with him. Like, what's going on? And so he was like, my brother is busy. But at the same time, you can just like hang around him and see what he's doing. Not just basically thinking that you can just sit there and it's going to just be handed to you. You're in a unique situation where you don't have any student debt. Your mother paid off your student debt. You're out of school. You have graduated. You have a home to come home to, despite the fact that it's not your own, but you have no debt. That is a very unique and amazing situation, especially in the way that everything is going nowadays. You are blessed beyond measure. You come home to a house that you ain't got to pay no bills, that you ain't got to pay for the food that you eat. You ain't got to pay for the clothes that have been washed, meaning that you ain't got to pay for I don't think he got to pay for the, you know, electricity and all that stuff. He ain't got to pay for the products that are used in order to wash the clothes. He ain't got to pay for nothing except what he want to pay for with the money that he makes when he is helping out with the business that his stepfather does. So yeah, y'all. Maurice is just not trying to hear his excuses because he was able to do it. But Jalen is trying to explain to him that, you know, you just think that you could just walk out there, just walk outside, and then it's just there. The opportunity is just there to just be an entrepreneur. And he was like, it is what it is. I do believe that you can work and be an entrepreneur at the same time, but you're only working and that's it. And at the end of the conversation, he was just like, look, either it's going to work out how it's supposed to work out, and you are going to be able to somehow find a balance and do what you need to do in order to get your business off the ground so that you can be an entrepreneur, or we're going to have to start discussing rent. And so he was like, well, you ain't got to worry about that because I'm going to be moving out soon anyway. And so he's like, what are you talking about? See, you won't be creating debt, and this is what we're trying to avoid. So that was the end of that conversation. Melody and Martell met up at one of the businesses, and they were sitting down. They were going to meet and discuss the finances and all that because, you know, they are getting a divorce. So Melody asked him off rip, you know, can I record this conversation? And so he was like, it's the state of Alabama. I don't care what you do. You can record it if you want to. So she's recording everything because she wants to make sure that you don't sit up here and say one thing 1 minute, then you say something else the next minute. So anyway, they're talking about the different businesses and whether or not they want to dissolve them. Are they going to get certain percentages of it? Like, what are they going to do? Well, they get to her business, Embrace. And so he was like, well, we discussed I would get 15% of that. And you know, because I was the one who was behind all that. I was the one who pushed you, and my money, you know, did all these things, and I had trusted you with money throughout the years, and I pushed the brand. And so she was like, let's be clear. I've been on social media since before you and I got together. And so he was like, yeah, but you didn't have a brand. Like, did nobody know you like that? So it just got to a point where she started getting very emotional. And, you know, she was tearing up and, you know, trying to hold back tears. And, like, he really started going off about this money. He was like, I never thought you would attack me like this about money. Haven't I always trusted you with money? And so she was like, he said, I always gave you all the money. I gave you every single dime. And so she was like, yeah, you trusted me with that, right? And it seemed like they were going to have somewhat of a small breakthrough, but of course he found a way to screw that up by saying, well, you know, I trust everybody. Didn't you always tell me that I trust everybody and I need to stop trusting everybody? So she could tell in that moment. You really could tell she was just like, you know what, I'm tired. So they kind of were going back and forth, mainly him going off about how he was the brains and just he was the financial backing but behind everything. The reason why the book is in existence is because of him. The reason why her business is what it is because of him. And he doesn't want her to sit up there and stifle anything that they've had going because of what they're going through as far as this divorce is concerned, because ultimately it can trickle down and affect their children. And it's like I get both sides to a certain extent. It's just a lot. I don't understand why he wants a piece of her business. That's like really like the only thing that's like, well, I thought was 100% hers. That's why I was kind of confused. But anyway, she just got to a point where she pretty much went down a list and was like, yeah, we're just going to dissolve this. And then like, she just was like, I'm done with this conversation. I'm good. So she left to go get in her car. She got in her car, locked the door. He came out and was like, we didn't finish talking. We were going to talk about the money that you took out of the joint account and put in your personal account. And so she just went on ahead and drove off. She didn't want to hear nothing he had to say. I just think that it's getting ugly. And I think it's going to get worse as the season progresses because it's just a lot that's going on. And the divorce is making for a lot of news and headlines for these blogs and whatnot. So if you haven't been seeing what's going on, I don't know how you ain't seen it because a lot has been going on. Destiny and Leticia met up because Leticia said that she was in the neighborhood and she was checking on their business. So she went over to Destiny's business because y'all know she's a Black business owner who owns her own hair salon. Beauty supply store. And she had her baby on her. So she just felt like, you know, since I'm going to be here for a few hours at a time, it's okay for me to bring the baby. So she said she was going to swing by and try to find some natural hair care products to wash and condition her children's hair with. So she figured, why not come to her business? So they were talking and she invited her to come on her mommy business podcast. And she was like, okay, well, why not invite Kimmy as well? And so that's when they started discussing how Kimmy and Destiny still have beef or unresolved issues from when they first came on the show, because, you know, Destiny and her husband, they were the newbies as far as the couples were concerned, and Kimmy didn't know of them, and she made a remark talking about he makes really good chicken. Oh, he's the chicken guy or something like that. And she took offense. And ever since then, they haven't really been on any type of terms. So she's like, well, I'm open to a conversation. I'm, you know, not beyond reproach. We can go ahead and try to squash that. But what about you and Melody? What y'all got going on? So she was like, well, I don't know about all that because we don't talk. And it's probably because of situations that have happened between their men. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely why y'all's strained, whatever y'all want to call it. That's why you and Melody don't get along, mainly because of what you and your man and her ex-husband to be are going through. So I mean, that makes sense. So anyway, they are going to be having a celebration for Jalen, and just about everybody's going to be invited. But the way that they're doing it because of COVID, Kimmy has been having like various events. So the one that we're going to see is going to be the one where the people who have businesses are invited. So, you know, everybody that we normally see, the Hopes, and just literally everybody that we normally see, they are the ones who are going to be there. So he was running late and he finally showed up, and they were supposed to be celebrating him. A situation went down Martell finally appeared. And why in the world was Wanda invited? I'm not understanding. I'm just not understanding. Kimmy was even looking like, okay, why is she here? This don't even make no sense. She came, everybody looking like, okay, why? Why is Miss Wanda not in Birmingham? I don't understand. Like, she's just all up in Huntsville, and she's just like, well, I'm gonna be here. Like, it wasn't your daughter's place to invite you to that event. Like, I'm not understanding why she didn't even tell her daughter, like, why would I go? And then one breath, you try to make it seem like you have all of this beef with Kimmy because you feel like she ain't being loyal to your daughter. Then why would you show up to an event that's involving her son and you know she gonna be there too? Like, what is the point? That don't make sense to me. Make it make sense. Anyway, but before I get into that, I knew I was forgetting something. So what happened after Leticia went to see Destiny, they showed how they were at their business. The, what is it, Black? And they were there with his uncle, Marceau's uncle. And they were going over some stuff because what is it with everybody wanting to do whatever manner? What is that? Why is that a thing now? Like, why is that really a growing thing now? I know that that's something that has happened years and years and years and years and years ago, long before I was born. But people have been really trying to do whatever manner now. And I'm like, why? So they're working on, it was Hope Manor, and then what is their last name? I can't even think of it. But yeah, whatever their last name is. I don't know why I can't think of it. But anyway, they working on that. And I'm just like, and that was what Martell's situation was going to be. It was going to be Hope Manor. And so here's Scott. And so theirs is supposed to be Scott Manor. So they had the blueprint out there. They had it out there going over stuff in that area that they want to try to have a lot of family to be in to build their dream home. And they're going back and forth, and she wants a playroom. He like, I don't see the point of a playroom. The kids are growing up really fast. Ain't no need for a playroom. And he ended up getting a visit from Chris, the man who we saw last episode, who met up with Martell. And he let him know that the investors are not here for him like that, and they don't want to make him the face of nothing. So it is what it is. But anyway, Marceau knew something had to be up for him to pop up, because even though they cool, he knew that he's cool with Martell. So he came to him and told him that there's like a $30 million project that's coming, and they're investors that are from out of town, and they want to do business with him. And so he's really trying to understand what's the catch. So he was like, I mean, Martell is going to be in on it or whatever. But, you know, this is land that he did buy. The Holtz bought the land, but they're selling it. So ultimately, it's something that they will be able to put a bid in on, and they might work together, but not work together, if you know what I mean. They would do their projects independently. So that's a lot of money, and it's a lot of houses that they would be able to build. So he came back in, and Tisha wanted to know why he was there. He explained to her what it was about. Off rip, she was like, nah, sometimes you just got to let certain deals just go. He was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to let $30 million go. Let's continue on what we were talking about. And so she was like, yeah, let's. And so then this is when he, you know, lets her know that he going to still do it, even though he going to do it by himself. And so she was like, why would you say that you're going to pass on it, and then you saying now that you're in on it? Well, he neglected to mention that he ain't got nothing to do with it anymore, Martell. So it's not like it's their land anymore, and that they would be having to work directly with them like that. And so she was like, you should have led with that. Y'all, anyway, we'll see how that goes once it gets closer to it. But I think it is smart for him to put his bid on it, put his bid in on it, because that can be very lucrative. And he already got a lot of stuff going on. He's been popular. he's been very popular. That's the one thing I can respect about Marceau is his business savvy, all the stuff he has going on. Apparently he do something well enough because people be actually wanting, you know, contracts with him. So that's good. But anyway, y'all, back to the party. So they are having the gathering for Jalen, and Jalen is finally arriving. Y'all, excuse me. I thought I had that down, but I didn't. But Jalen is finally arriving, and for whatever reason, they've invited Wanda. I don't understand why she thought that was a good idea to invite her mama. And so Kimmy, you know, was like, yeah, I see that you're here, and your daughter and, you know, your daughter's husband must have invited you. And so she was like, I invited my mom. And I'm just like, girl, why? That don't make no sense to me. I don't understand that. But anyway, Jalen ended up showing up. Melody came. Like, everybody was there who was supposed to be there outside of Wanda. There was no reason for her to be there. So anyway, Martell popped up while Kimmy and them were like in the middle of doing their speeches. And the way they had it set up was she had Jalen and her husband to put on cap and gowns because, you know, he graduated from law school and her son graduated and got his degree as well. So she felt like both of them should be celebrated because they did exceptionally well, and I agree, that was great. So they're doing speeches and they're doing their little walk for everybody because, you know, everybody couldn't be at different places because of COVID. And for whatever reason, well, no, not for whatever reason, Melody was like, okay, well, I'm done with this, so I'm waiting for her to finish her speech and then I'm gonna leave. So she was like, well, I told you I'm gonna leave when you do your speech. So she was leaving out. So when she was leaving out, Wanda got up and chased after her and was like, yeah, I want to talk to her about something. And so she rolled up on her and was like, yeah, I see you leaving, and I know you leaving because Martell here. So Martell heard his name, apparently. He got up, he rolled all the way up because Destiny had walked out with Melody. And, you know, they're really cool. And so Martell rolled all the way up and was like, because she said something about you need to find somebody better than him. You can do better than that. And so she was like, he said, well, why are you talking about my kids? He's saying that she's talking trash about his daughters, their kids, and all of this. And basically putting, I guess, comparisons about her grandkids versus his kids. And they just going back and forth, and she's talking about she ain't saying nothing about his kids. Like, that's the whole conversation. And so she just kept trying to ignore him and was like, Melody, you look good. You can do better than him. He trash and all of that. And it don't make no sense. So then she was like, okay, whatever. And she went on about her business. She trying to get in her car and go. So then Martell and Miss Wanda going back and forth. And so she was like, she's a beautiful woman. Why would you do that to her? He was like, yeah, she is a beautiful woman. It is what it is. What I did ain't got to do with nothing. And I mean, they continuously went back and forth talking about how it is what it is. These things happened. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I didn't talk about your kids. And they are outside. Where they're having this event is basically outside too of whatever this place is. And so eventually Leticia was like, is that my mom? Like, it sounds really loud. So she went to go see what was going on. Everybody dissipated by this time. Destiny was able to finally pull Martell away and get away from her and all of that. And so she wanted to know what was going on. Then she asked her mama, where her mama going? Her mama going through the parking lot trying to go talk to Melody. She was like, Melody has a mom. You're my mom. I'm like, Lord, this is too much. Meanwhile, at the event, at the table, Kimmy was like, we could have did this at the house. If we was going to sit here, all three of us was going to sit here and eat. Because at this point, everybody is gone but them. Everybody else is gone from the table but them. It was crazy. But anyway, we're going to see the continuation of this foolishness next week. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the recap review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. Y'all like this video. Comment down below so we can get this discussion popping. I hope y'all have a good one. I am tired, y'all. I need to eat and go to sleep. Bye.